Twin Galaxies noted that Pinero's test support supported their findings.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, so he brought in the dude to check out his video, and that dude's like, it's fake too, bro.
Yeah, it is beyond fake. The frame by frame confirms it.
In the end, the organization ruled that Mitchell would no longer hold the record as the first player to hit 1 million points in Donkey Kong, and expunged him from their competitive leaderboards, including his flawless Pac-Man performance and high score, which Guinness wiped away too.
Wait, so that was punitive, right?
Right.
Okay, so they're downright saying this is like...
They just banned him from the whole shit.
Right, so he can't compete for anything ever, and even the things that he legitimately won, he now lost.
The 2018 statement reflected with malaise, anyone looking into their own past with honesty and desire will improve. Desire to improve will likely find things potentially messy and uncomfortable.
Right.
With this ruling, it concluded Twin Galaxies can no longer recognize Billy Mitchell as the first million-point Donkey Kong record holder.
Oh, terrible.
The full statement quoted in Mitchell's complaint never actually uses the word cheater, quote unquote.
Right.
But instead formally asserts that Mitchell's use of a system other than the original unmodified Donkey Kong arcade PCB did not follow the competitive rules. The statement is libelous in its face, says Mitchell. It asserts that Mitchell does not achieve his record scores legitimately, i.e. through the competitive rules applicable to all players. Instead, it asserts Mitchell achieved his scores only by impermissibly and secretly shortcutting those rules.
Yes.
That is, Mitchell achieved the scores by cheating, as Webster's dictionary defines cheating as to violate
a disaster, an incurable catastrophe, an unrepentant shit disturber. I was the kid you did not want in your class. You know, the one who couldn't sit still, couldn't do the drill, didn't fit the bill, never would, never will, until I got the chill pill. Ritalin. Now we're fitting in, paying attention, listening better than it's been. Let's not pretend it's a solution. It's not. Just the best we got because the system shot. Having attention deficit hyperactivity disorder is like living inside a violently disobedient clock. Seconds slowing into forever. Then jumping into overdrive. Warp 8, warp 9, warp 10. Mr. Scott, I need more. Aye, Captain, but I'm afraid she'll blow. Having ADHD is like being an exclamation mark in a world of commas. It's telling the cop, go yourself. Because the dial on my rage diminisher is malfunctioning. It's tuning out my wife who's sitting right in front of me. Because the fly on the ceiling is walking backwards. And I forgot to call my mom, who was a terrible cook, but I didn't care. I ate so fast, food barely touched my taste buds. I don't know why they call them buds anyway. It's not like they become flowers, or friends, or beer. I remember the first time I took Ritalin. My mental merry-go-round began to slow down, and everyone suddenly started speaking human. But by then, I found my own ways to cope. I went to 5 different high schools, failed every class except gym, drama, and dope smoking. Math was like studying advanced theoretical Klingon, like bungee jumping off the back of a pickup truck. I still don't speak numbers. My adolescent mind was a paper plane in the palm of a hurricane. And ultimately, the only thing school ever taught me was that I wasn't good enough to make the grade. I know my attention fluctuates, but when love calls my name, I focus like the Hubble. I can see God's fingerprints on every flower petal. I remember the cut, color, and texture of that dress you wore the day we met, the saline sweetness of your sweat, and every switchback curve in your beautiful smile. You say living with me is like having a Swedish death metal band in the basement and a drunk kangaroo in the bedroom. But although I can't sit still for more than 3 minutes, I still see forever in your eyes. And though sometimes I don't pay attention, I know exactly how much this love is worth. The world disdains the distracted mind. They prefer us focused on our flat screens, too terrified to imagine a world without drones, war zones, or corporate prisons. But my mind is full of visions so breathtakingly beautiful. My God, I wish you could see them too.
I may never be normal.
But what is normal in a world of infinite variety?
And in the quiet backwaters of my mind,
I know I am not damaged.
Just different.
And isn't being different
the one thing we all have in common? Oh, welcome, motherfuckers, to another edition of ADHD Radio, where I'm having to do shit all on my own because Kevin is, incommunicado and stuff. Let me see if I can get this freaking switch right. And getting there. This is a completely different way of doing things. So it's going to be a little bit tricky at first, but I think I can get through it. I can do it. You can do it. I know I can do it. I've done it for quite some time. Ugh. Okay, yes. Today is May the 12th, 2020. And the replay thing needs to turn off. See, these are the moments where I can fix stuff and do things that are usually easy until you just need like a second of your attention, and then Kevin usually picks it up. But in this case, he can't pick it up because I'm the only one doing it. Let me be sure that I can get this to look right there, and it's not coming out of that. Lovely. Lovely. All right, how about this and that? How about that? How about them apples? Do you like them apples? Still a little bit of background noise, but I just don't care. I think I can go with it. Anyway, welcome to ADHD Radio. My name is Video Vamp, and joining me in the studio is not Kevin. And I forgot to silence my phone. I love it when that happens. Very good. There. Okay. So, yeah, I mean, this will go as long as it goes, but I just couldn't help but feel the need to do something because this show has been on the air for so long. So long. God, 15 years? Something like that. It feels like longer, but I don't know. 15 years is a long time. Next year, the show will be able to drive. And speaking of which, this one really got me. 20,000 teens have received their driver's licenses in Georgia without a road test. Oh, by the way, phones are up. 984-664-2723, NHB Live through Skype. And I should probably, before I get started, I should probably be sure that that actually does indeed work. So we're going to do this like this. Echo 1, 2, 3, and be sure that our sound card is right. These are the things that I'm normally doing when nothing's happening, but I don't have that option here. Let's see. Oh, that's wrong. There we go. Yeah. So that should be on, and that should be on. So that looks pretty stinking good. That's right. This is how to do a Skype check on air. And boy, that key looks like shit. Wow, why does that key look so bad? These are like the fun times that will be had by all. Because VideoVamp didn't have a chance to do his chroma sampling before the beginning of the show. Let me turn the key off real quick and see if I can't clean that up a little bit. And in the meantime, it's time to do a Skype call. Let's see. Call that person. Call. Yeah, call. You gonna do the call thing? Boy, this is just not my day. All right, well, I'm gonna fix the key, and I just don't really care about dead air. Because there's nothing I can do about it. Nothing at all, governor. We're gonna get a better Chrome sample from like right there. And I will untie that and see if I can't get this key to look a little bit less horrible. Let's preview that. That looks acceptable. All right, let's see. Oh, all right, good. Considerably less noise. So let's get this up. Oh, it does help if we write the H in echo. Yeah, let's do it.
Hello, welcome to Skype call testing service. After the beep, please record a message. Afterwards, your message will be played back to you.
Hello, hello, hello. A-L-L-O, hello, hello. How's that? Okay, pretty good. Hello, hello, hello. A-L-L-O, hello, hello. How's that? Okay.
If you are able to hear your own voice, then you have configured Skype correctly.
Oh, good.
If you hear this message, but not your own voice, then something is wrong with your audio recording settings. Please check your microphone and microphone settings or visit skype.com for more help. Thank you for using the Skype call testing service. Goodbye.
Good boy. Very good. Okay, well, at least that works. It's always good when, like, one thing or the other decides to work. So, back to the topic at hand. 20,000 teens in Georgia have received their driver's license. This scares the crap out of me. Not that I have anything against Willa Peavy, but an approval for a new driver's license that she applied for online without taking a road test, like, this whole thing feels completely and totally wrong to me. And it's not just, I'm not like trying to be a Puritan here. I understand you need a driver's license, but it's kind of one of these things where it really shouldn't be optional to have to go and do a driver's test. I just can't see any way around it. I don't know. I mean, desperate times call for desperate measures, but at the same time, that just seems incredibly strange. It's the best way I could put it. It's too odd. Let's see. Police chase ends with naked man running into church, then overdosing. I don't even know what to think about that. But we do have video of it. Oh, wow. I don't really want to play the audio, but I do want to see what's going on. So let's turn off the audio and see what's what. Let's see. Oh, we've even have captions. I love local news have figured out like how to cut up their shows. I bet this is going to be all B-roll. We'll see in a second. Sunday service. Yeah. Okay, so police run into the church. There's some guy with a horrible key. Oh my God, I hope my key looks better than that. Pastor, live church guy. I was standing up near the stage and saw someone coming very quickly, and then they drove into our whatever. Oh, Maine. Wow. Yeah, and the rest of it's going to be B-roll. But holy crap. I mean, my first question is, why on earth are they even housing, like, how are they doing church services right now? I know that some people are doing them remotely, but how? Like, at the end of the day, how? I've heard about Catholic churches that are doing lots of masses with, like, 10 at a time. Let's see. Oh. There's Gators. Yeah, Gators, do it. Guess we're going to have a special co-host, which is good. That's always good. Good. Well, we're going to be reading interesting news because, I don't know, that's what I just feel like doing. I'm trying to figure out if I can do a separate out to Gators. That wouldn't be easy. I would have to do an upstream key. Nah. Not really easily done. Let me think about this. Nah, not really. Okay, well, hopefully Gators will Skype in. I'll be sure that that is on. And that will be that. Okay. I'm wondering now if I can just switch to Gators. Maybe I'll just remap that camera. That would be interesting. I think I could reroute the camera. Iranian Navy accidentally bombed its own warship in the Persian Gulf. That's nice. Wow. Ugh. French backpacker punches a shark while surfing in Australia. That's pretty great. Like, that one kind of takes the cake. Snarky news of the week. Here's a summary of the various things happening around the week. French backpacker avoids death by punching a shark. Dude. I like straight up respect. I need to be sure that Gators can do the Skypey thing. That's good. Yeah, I think it's online. Should be online. Let me double check this. Oh, speak of the devil. Mr. Johnny Gators.
Word,
you're way too hot. You got to turn down.
I set Skype to automatically set the levels.
Yeah, you really shouldn't do that.
I shouldn't trust Microsoft with my computer stuff, should I?
No, that's a very bad idea.
Okay, I'll just talk quietly while I. Of course, Microsoft has moved around sound settings so many times at this point, I don't even know where to set levels anymore.
Right. Well, and that's why most of us use Macs. I love that you have a futon that I love that you have a futon that is colored in the color of a green screen. Like,
but you've not been watching my show lately, have you?
No, Gators, I haven't.
Lately on my Monday show, we've been using a very psychedelic poster that I took a picture of that's used to be hanging on Venison's wall before he got evicted as the pattern for the couch. But on Dune Show every Sunday, I pick something different to make the couch every week. So that's been tons of fun.
So you've been using patterns. Like, what do you do? Do you like swim into a porno or something? Because it's not like it's high enough to be, it's not a complete background. It's just like right at your eye line, which is a strange place.
Well, I mean, now how's my level? I turned it down a little bit.
Yeah,
I don't know.
No, that's fine.
Okay, all right. I set it from 13% to 10%. So apparently that was just the right nudge in the right direction.
Wait, so you couldn't figure out how to get Skype to not do its thing?
Well, no, I just went into the sound settings and found the setting and adjusted it. I wasn't going to mess with Skype settings.
Right, because that's a terrible idea. I hate Skype so much. I don't even want to think about it. It's a complete and total waste of time. And the problem is, for broadcast, at least for one-on-one broadcast, it is still the best, highest quality. It's still the lowest latency. So, like, part of what I've been doing these days has been like, next week, for example, I'm going to be doing a university event. So, like, all this video equipment that I have is now legitimately a tax write-off, which is kind of cool. But, like, so many things are having to change as the result of COVID that there's kind of no way around it. The cool part is I'm uniquely suited to do this because I already understand the tech and I already understand the broadcast. But it's been an interesting thing because, like, so for example, and you'd think people would know this, but like, you actually have to call people in advance. These people are like, well, we've done Zoom meetings before. It's like, yes, but here's the difference. You're paying me a lot of money to curate your Zoom meeting, which means it's on me if you screw up at the end of the day. Right. So like,
yes,
so
exactly.
we're going to do a sound check. They're like, but I didn't do a sound check before. And it's like, 'cause your ass wasn't on the line. It's mine. That's how it's going to work. And like, you would be shocked. Like, you call and you do these sound checks and you're like, so, okay, this is one of these. I didn't realize I had to ask this, but thankfully I did. So we schedule a time and I do this call, right at the right time, and it's, okay, so are you where you're going to be doing this event? The guy was on his fucking car phone.
That's my favorite. When I'm like, you sit in front of your computer right now? Oh, I'm on the road right now. I'm like, well, how am I going to help you? You're not. That's
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
But this is like one step better. It's like the purpose of the meeting, and they knew the purpose of the meeting was to make sure everything is correct for this presentation. So
and he's on his car phone.
Yes. Yes.
Driving.
Yes. It's like, oh, no, I'm at the, and it's not usually that obvious. I mean, a lot of the time it's other stuff. It's like, oh, I'm doing this or I'm doing that, or, oh, I'm at work right now. Really? You're at work right now? Okay. Are you presenting from work? No. Well, what do you like? What do you want me to do? Oh, and here's the other one that just chaps my ass. When people fight me about Wi-Fi, well, I've done lots of meetings and they're on Wi-Fi, and I've never had any problems. So what does that mean? Does that mean you're never going to have a problem ever again? Like, I don't understand.
Yeah. I mean, if problems never happened because it worked once, you and I would be out of jobs. It'd be that simple.
Well, we'd have significantly less work, that's for sure, because then we'd only have to get it to work once, and then there'd never be an issue at all ever again.
Yeah. And then you'd still have a job, barely, and I wouldn't, plain and simple.
What are you doing these days? I haven't talked to you in like entirely too long.
I'm still doing help desk technical support stuff, and I'm working completely from home. I haven't been in the office since the end of February. And I tell you, my setup here has been absolutely perfect for working from home. People who meet with me for tech calls are always impressed. Usually the first thing they say is, "Oh, I feel like I'm on the radio." It's like a funny thing about that.
Oh, wait. So you're doing video chat?
I'm doing video chat, video conferences. We're using primarily Teams. And, sometimes I have to do things on the phone. Sometimes I do things through email or whatever. But if I have a Teams meeting with someone, I always put the camera on. I think it's more friendly and personal to have my face come up on their screen first thing to let them know I'm watching. And, that just sets the tone from there, I guess.
So do you wear a white T-shirt when you're working, or do you like step it up a notch? Do you go like to the level of polo?
No, I wear polos in the office, but once I start working from home, I stop dressing up. It's just been T-shirts and shorts. I'm okay with that. No one's complaining. Everyone else is pretty much doing the same thing. I've been observing other people on their cameras, and T-shirts is pretty standard work from home attire, except for the CEO. He's still dressing up. Although I do have a call with him tomorrow. Maybe I should put on a polo tomorrow.
Well, you know what I think you should do? I think you should wear the same white T-shirt and a tie.
This is a T-shirt for the company I worked for in California. So, not only did I work today in a T-shirt and did calls, but I have a different company's logo on my shirt.
Oh, nice.
I'm doing my calls.
Wow. I mean, it's been great. Like, so I pivoted overnight because it's easy. All I had to do because of this studio is like, bink. Everything that was going to be scheduled is now scheduled for remote. If I'm going to be teaching you how to do an iPhone, guess what? We're going to remote into your iPhone. Everything I do is remote. And this studio, like the first thing people say is, "God, what webcam do you use?" And I'm like, yeah, this isn't a webcam. Like this camera costs more than your computer. But oh, good God, does it not look great? Part of me wishes you had learned how to color grade instead of sound engineer, because I've been screwing around so much with color grading, and good Christ, is it hard? It's one of these things that it is a creative endeavor, but oh wow,
Yeah.
it is.
You know, talking about color and color matching and things like that. This doesn't relate to cameras, but printers. And you know, this goes back to when I worked for the box factory in California. And the only thing we really cared about, you know, printing on the box is, you know, that it's printed on there. We were not at all concerned about color matching, or it's got to be this precise color, or the green has to be not too green, and this much. So we had a plotter, also known as a big ass printer,
Right.
for the layman.
Right.
That's
Plotters,
what we always called it.
Yeah. I mean, the only plotters I've ever dealt with were deed plotters, which were basically the things that turned out blueprints.
Right. And this plotter would print out basically like artwork, you know, proof artwork for our boxes, just to get, you know, so you could show the customer this is what it'll look like, or banners for the employee of the month. Of course, when we started laying off people, and one of the first people to go was the previous month's employee of the month. They did away with the employee of the month program, but that's another story. So the plotter had a software problem in that the software frequently crashed mid-job. And, you know, the jobs are quite big to do. So, you know, you got like, you know, half of a print, and then you got to reboot the computer and start it again. And so, you know, we finally reached a point where we determined that what we needed a better RIP software. And so I called up our sales rep, and he's like, well, I can't just sell you RIP software over the phone. I've got to come into the office and do a presentation and try to talk you into giving us more money than you really want to give us. I'm like, all right, let's set up the meeting. What are you doing Tuesday? Great.
Okay.
And Jose is the guy who uses the plotter. So it's like, well, Jose, you come sit in the meeting, and that way you could tell us if you need any of this stuff or not. And the guy's talking about, well, we got the finest line, and, you know, color matching, and, you know, you got to, you know, set the right settings for the type of paper. Are you going to use a glossy paper? Are you going to use a matte paper? And Jose's like, we print boxes.
We print fucking boxes. Like, these things are used. Like, the purpose of the box printer is to print boxes. That's all it does. It prints boxes. If it prints boxes faster, great, but probably who cares?
We don't need color matching for the employee of the month banner. We don't even print those anymore. That's you know, so everything from Jose was, no, we don't need that. No, we don't need that. No, we don't need that. And of course, the sales guy then goes, well, what you really should do is buy a new plotter, because who knows how you buy the software and then that plotter breaks down, and you just wasted your money. So you might as well buy the new plotter. No, we're not. So what pissed me off was you know, he comes up with this quote for this software package that includes all these features that we told him we don't need for like way more money. And I kept asking him at least 10 times in this process, is there a cheaper version of this software that doesn't have these features that we don't need? No, this is what you need to do. So I did a 5-minute Google search. Yeah. And I found a cheaper version of the software that doesn't include all the features we didn't need. And I came back to him and I said, well, so what's the deal with the CFI Express? Oh, we usually don't recommend that version because it doesn't have all the features.
Because it doesn't have all the bullshit that nobody asked for and nobody wants.
And I think I actually got a little direct with him, and I said, so all these features that I said I don't need are not on this version of the software that's cheaper. So all these times that I asked you, and he's like, well, we can send you a quote for that. Yes, please do that. And that's how I saved the company hundreds of dollars.
I mean, how much was, like, I assume that a box printer is an expensive thing, right?
Yeah.
I mean, those have to cost thousands.
Boxes. This was printing on spools of paper, the proof for the box. So he was mostly printing like black outlines with the logo on it. And there was some color printing that was done, because we did have some 3-color and 4-color machines. I mean, really the stuff that was printing the boxes was expensive machine that was cutting the corrugated board into the right shape and printing the logo on there. I didn't deal with that machine. The only thing I dealt with out there were the thin clients that were supposed to keep track of how many jobs are being run in a certain period of time. but the people working out on the floor couldn't figure out the complexities of clicking the start and the stop button on the app, so they never used that.
Oh, yeah.
Kind of convenient that we can't figure out how this software that tracks our performance works. It's a software problem. We tried clicking the start, we tried clicking the stop, but it just isn't working.
But it's not starting or stopping, so we're totally hosed now. Oh, here's my favorite. You'll get a kick out of this. So like when I'm doing production meetings, one of the nice parts about having hardware switchers is I can do stuff like this. And like,
well, I can't see you.
You should be able to see my video if you look.
Where?
I think I'm outputting video on Skype. Maybe I didn't turn it on. Hang on.
Oh, I've been talking to myself this whole time.
Oh, well.
And I do look fantastic today.
Oh, let me just tell you, Gators, you've always been a looker. Let's see, audio and video. No, the video is on.
Oh.
So you should. Oh, there it is. There you go.
Oh, there you are.
Yeah. So like the cool thing is I could actually like in the video mixer.
We're looking over here now. Is what we're doing. Is that okay?
I can't. So I guess it's been a while since you've seen my studio, but like, so the neat part is I can like, because I can feed you back to you without any mix minus, and the whole thing is an aux channel. So like, for example, if I want you, like there you are coming back to you,
there I am.
And you're not looping. So that's what the program out looks like.
Oh, okay.
It's really cool. But like when I'm doing production meetings, I can do shit like, oh, how do you like my studio? And and the key is good enough, even like against my hair, that like you actually can't tell over a webcam. And now keep in mind, this is a client studio. This was a very expensive studio. You can see, oh, here's some Gators porn. I can see if I can point to it. See all those DAT decks right there?
Right, yeah.
So like, this guy has like 48 channels. It's a beautiful studio. And the funny part is he never uses the console anymore. Like that MacBook that's above there.
I'm not surprised.
Well, why would you?
Sad.
I mean, no, but you get a PreSonus, right? You're still running all the inputs, but you don't need the faders. Like the faders don't do anything. For those that don't know, like you can actually use all the inputs, but you're actually, it's basically a fancy aux send. Like you can run through the preamps, but a big console like that doesn't have its own preamps. Correct me if I'm wrong, Gators, but like for the most part, the preamps are separate. And a console like that one, well, actually that one's wrong because there are the levels. So yeah, it probably does have its own. Probably does have its own.
I mean, that varies from equipment to equipment, but I get what you're saying.
Yeah, but anyway, the funny thing is, I'm like, so how does that? I bet that I bet it sounds great. He's like, I don't know, I haven't turned it on in like 2 years. He's like, people who are in studios, the people that pay for a studio time. Oh, they're all about, people want to see the faders. Let me see the faders. Gotta see the faders.
I just bought something for show.
Well, no, I mean, he did use it, but he kept it purely because they want...
He keeps it for show.
Well, on their Instagram feed, he's like, the number one use for this room these days, aside from, the fact that it's sound isolated, is just straight away that we want to, people want to take selfies in front of a console and be like, yeah, studio work. Yeah.
Well, it kind of reminds me of, you remember my first profile picture, right?
I mean, would you be, would you be upset if I told you I don't remember your first profile picture?
Well, you might remember it if I remind you. I mean, back before Facebook, when we were all on MySpace and setting profile pictures there, my first profile picture was a picture from my college years sitting behind a big, expensive, fancy mixing board with my finger on one of the faders. And this was pre-Beard Gators. I don't know if you're remembering this at all or not.
No, I remember that picture.
Yeah. And the funny thing though is that was a very expensive, a very state of the art, very top of the line mixing board for its day, and it did not belong to the school until the school there was an incident. So somehow the school worked out this deal with Tascam. That Tascam provided a bunch of loaner expensive equipment, with that big ass mixing board being like the crown jewel of the equipment that was being loaned to the school. In exchange for the school, would have students that would be available for internship opportunities with Tascam. And this way, you have our equipment to learn on, and then we get people that know our equipment. And there were a few people in my class that took advantage and did some internships with Tascam. But unfortunately, that big mixing board was not a my first Mackie, to quote one of my teachers. It was not a good board to learn on because it was very complicated. It was a very early automation board. So you really had to learn how to get into the menus and the settings to just to route audio, just to get sound out of it. So it very quickly got put aside into an extra room that wasn't usually used for things. And basically, the only thing that board did was control the volume on the PC that was used to burn CDRs of school concerts.
Oh, speaking of which, maybe this will help you, Gators. Here's what, while you talk, I want you to see what my limiter on your channel is doing.
Okay, so
that's a little high.
My levels.
That's a little high, Gators.
I turned it. You said it was good.
Yes.
You should have told me it wasn't.
Well, so I have this feeling. So, like, to give you a sense, the attack is at 0.7, the release is at 93, and the threshold is at -12, and you're still pegging the fuck out of it.
Well, here's the thing. My Delta 1010 LT M Audio sound card kept blue screening my computer. But my other M Audio card doesn't blue screen my computer, but that card only has 4 in and 4 out. So since Skype is the lowest of my priorities when it comes to running sound, Skype is using the onboard sound card on my computer.
I see.
Let's see. You know what? I'm going to flip that, and then I'm going to bring that down there. Is that helping?
Let me get there.
There we go. We're gonna. Well, I'm in the red still.
Both the compressor and the limiter are on, which is funny because it's a digital channel. I don't usually have to put dynamics on it.
Maybe if I pull the fader down a little bit, that will. Well, no, the fader is what I'm hearing. The fader's not what I'm sending. I gotta turn the send down. It's
doing jack shit. That's funny. This is how we allow audio technicians to fix their own problems.
Well, here we go.
We show them their meters.
Well, now this is, how come that's not changing anything? That's weird. Oh, because because
your dynamic gain is set, so it's just gaining the fuck out of you.
No, that's because I was moving the fader from my turntable. Wait a minute. What am I sending you? Oh, I'm sending you microphone on this. So if I pull that down, that pulls things down.
It sounds better. It's still pegging, but it sounds better. That's fine. That's fine. At least the limiter is catching it. At this point, the limiter is catching it.
Okay.
It was gaining like crazy. Wow. I don't think I've ever had to see 20 reduction on a freaking digital channel. That's impressive.
I don't get why, maybe my line input is set as a mic input.
That'll do it. It'll also fuck up your mixer.
Well, no, I mean on the computer.
Oh. You and your fucking sound cards. You have the worst luck with sound cards. How do you do this?
Here's the thing. This sound card's really good, It's just that it only has 4 in and 4 out. And it was something that I never bought for streaming. I only bought it to do quad conversions on a second computer. But when the 1010 LT started blue screening Windows 10 because it was,
because
I
they
bought it.
because they decided not to write a Windows 10 driver.
Right. Because now I bought it when I was on Windows 7, but I think the hardware itself originated in the 98 era. Because if you go back to the oldest documentation, they had 98 drivers for that card. Now, that doesn't mean that it came out in 98. It just means it came out in an era where Windows 98 machines were still an option. So yeah, M Audio stopped updating drivers, and every time Microsoft decides to fuck with the sound capabilities in Windows, my sound card cries and makes my computer blue screen. Which a Windows 10 blue screen now gives you a frowny face. Did you know that?
Oh, believe me, I know that.
That was charming the first time it happened. By the 20th time, you're ready to strangle that frowny face.
Well, the problem is because you're using an actual sound card. Like, is it USB? Is if it was USB,
No.
it wouldn't crash. The problem is you have a hard crash because PCI is the bus. PCIe is directly in. The funny thing is, on a Mac, if you do something similar with Thunderbolt, because Thunderbolt is a directly addressable bus, you'll get exactly the same issue.
Well, I don't. I'm using a PCI card and a breakout box setup, but I don't know what to buy now because I tried one of those. What's the company that makes the Scarlet boxes?
Focusrite.
Focusrite. I tried one of those, but the problem is that they don't design those things for live streaming or anything like that. They really design those things for people that are recording music and want to track. I mean,
those are NLE. Like those are not designed for anything more than layering.
Yeah, and so I bought one that had enough inputs and outputs that I wanted to do, but it only works with their software, and I couldn't get it. Basically, when I talked to their support was like, well, if you get some third-party software that breaks out the inputs and outputs, and I still couldn't get it to work right, and I left a very scathing, lengthy review on Amazon's listing for the Focusrite stuff. So I don't know what modern sound card should I buy, and I'm not going to spend stupid money because this is a hobby. I'm not a professional broadcaster.
Well, neither am I, Gators, but I've spent some stupid fucking money.
Yes, but you're stupid. So
no, Gators, I make more money than you. There's a difference.
Tomato.
At the end of the day, I'm actually very pleased with the money that I've spent because now it's the reason that I can do all of this remotely, and it looks better and it sounds better than, I don't know, have you turned on CNN lately? It's fucking awful. I don't know what they're doing for these remotes, but I'm convinced they're letting people on national TV with webcams. It's fucking terrible.
They are. This is something that on the Dune and actually, we finally named the Dune and Bob show the Dune and Johnny show, and I now got to get in the habit of saying the Dune and Johnny show. But this is something that on the Dune and Johnny show we have been talking a whole lot about. That we can do this, you can too. You need to be doing better. And the other thing that we always tell people on the Dune and Johnny show is make sure to hold the phone like this.
Oh yeah, vertical video is like one of these things where you're never actually going to get. Good luck. That is an upstream challenge.
No one's mounting their TVs on their walls like that. Why are you holding your phones like that when you're videotaping? When you're recording the violent breakout at your local Walmart? I think it's because it's easier to fucking run, or it just looks like you're holding your, it's more inconspicuous or less conspicuous depending upon how you want to call it. But like, there's a scene going down here. No one's paying attention to the person filming it with the phone. They're paying attention to what's going down. No one paid attention to Amber Lamps until after the fact.
Who the fuck is Amber Lamps?
Well, she was the chick that was sitting there watching that whole thing unfold on the bus.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I've got to say, like, at the end of the day, it is kind of awe-inspiring to me how much things have changed with in the era of smartphones. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, here's an example. Like, it is absolutely disheartening to me that, like, some dude is jogging in a neighborhood. And keep in mind, this was in February. Did you hear about this? Some guy is jogging in a neighborhood, right?
Okay.
Black guy. Two white guys decide, well, you know what? He's the guy that robbed our house. They go out, they shoot him. Okay. And nothing from the DA. And then a video shows up showing them shooting him. And now they're like, well, I guess it did happen.
Well,
this is like the tits or it didn't happen.
Guess we're going to have to do something about this now. They got the video.
Right.
Ugh.
I mean,
sickening, isn't it?
I mean, I don't want to shit all over the DA. I mean, they have a really hard job to do, but at a certain point, you have to be asking.
Having a hard job to do is no excuse for doing a shitty job of it.
Well, I mean, at least pursue charges. These guys were never questioned. So that makes me wonder, did anybody get questioned? Like, were you pursuing leads, or was it, well, shit, some guy died? Like, I don't even know what to do with that.
I don't either. I don't know. So you no co-host today? What was Isn't Chicken Fingers usually perusing the adult entertainment sites around this time?
Yes, usually. So I'm going to show you here this this. Let me try to get that out into its own thing so that the peoples can actually see it. This was the extent of my conversation with Chicken Fingers. We were talking about stuff. Here, by the way, is what my studio looks like these days.
Okay.
So,
that's a lot of screens.
That's a lot of screens. I know. And like, I'm pretty pleased that I added this one, like, right up at the very top, because that one actually shows the live stream. It shows the bit rate and it shows the recording rate. So I don't have to use OBS. I don't have to use software, anything. When I go live for video, I press one button and I'm done. And it's encoding straight up. It's gorgeous.
That's cool.
So
swamp cooler emergency.
That's right. This is what Kevin told me.
All right. Now that looks like a bunch of rocks.
Right. So that's exactly what I thought. He writes, "That's amazing. I'm sorry I can't make it today. Swamp cooler emergency leaking onto the garage. I hate this fucking thing." Now, if you look very carefully, what you'll see is that there is copper piping. And what he actually meant to shoot was the copper hose, and you can see it right there.
Okay.
So, for those of you who don't live in an extremely low humidity place like New Mexico, a swamp cooler is one of the most amazing inventions ever. And contrary to popular belief, they don't work in swamps because swamps are too humid. A swamp, okay. Here's how, so
a swamp cooler doesn't cool your swamp.
It doesn't, it would not cool your swamp, not even a little bit. Here's how it works. Picture Looney Tunes. Now, if you remember Looney Tunes, the way that Looney Tunes portrayed an air conditioner was what? An ice cube suspended in front of a fan, right? Like, that
checks out.
Yeah, that's your standard, like, cartoon air conditioner. And the funny part is a swamp cooler is almost exactly the same thing. Essentially, you have a waterfall that falls over this, like, kind of meshy, I don't know, somewhat diffuse styrofoam something. And inside, so that's what the box is. The box on all four sides has this, they're called swamp cooler pads, but basically they're just things that are like radiator pads. They're designed to, like, to allow water to fall down through them.
Okay.
And that's all they are. And let me see.
So it's water cooling.
Well, yes, but it is straight up an evaporative cooler. I'm going to try to pull this in Google Images because it's one of these things where, like, it seems fucking insane, but they actually really work. And even, like, really expensive houses here, this is how they're done. Yes, there are some that have refrigerated air, but for the most part, refrigerated air here doesn't really make sense. It's not a useful thing, and it's, as you know, because you probably have an air conditioner, it's unbelievably expensive. Well, because refrigerating air it's basically like your AC unit is the same as a refrigerator.
Yeah. It's removing heat from the air through chemical reaction.
It's refrigerating air.
Heat goes outside, the rest goes inside.
It's exactly the same as your refrigerator, except it's designed to blow through spaces and it doesn't recirculate.
Right.
That's the difference. So, like, let me allow me to illustrate here. Okay, here is a swamp cooler. And I'm not kidding. Here's how it works. There is a pump on the bottom, right? It pumps water up to the top. The water falls down the pad, and as the water falls, it's just sucking air through the pad. That's how it works. That's it. There's nothing else. So, like, I'm not shitting you. That is exactly how it works. So all it does is like humidify and cool the air by the fact that your tap water is colder than the air. That's it. That's all it does.
Right.
Isn't that wild?
That is.
So, long story short, what that means is everybody has a high pressure copper line going up their roof in New Mexico that is just a cold tap of water, and it's pressurized. It has to be in order to get up to the roof. And
Right.
And that's all it does. And so apparently Kevin's little copper line, because as you can imagine, copper lines, like little bendy copper lines, tend to break.
Well, yeah.
They're copper and they're little, and a lot of people just basically tap like their faucet on the side of the house. So yeah, the whole thing tends to not go too well. Anyway, so yeah, that is why Kevin
has a swamp cooler emergency.
He had a swamp cooler emergency, and apparently it's leaking through his garage, which tells me that his garage is the roof of his garage is the suck. I don't know.
To be fair, though, his garage is probably the coolest place in his house right now.
Well, probably, but that's like it wasn't even hot today.
Doing its job, as far as I can tell. Then
it is doing its job, but not for the rest of the house.
To a place, it'll cool it right down.
That's true. Jason Klingeman writing in from Facebook, Johnny Gators show my thumb. What the fuck?
No, Dune has your thumb. I don't have your thumb. But well, basically, he calls into the Dune and Johnny show, and he always gives us a thumbs up, and then Dune might capture the image to bring it up again. So he likes seeing himself.
He should probably do his own show.
He should. That would be entertaining.
I would say there are two kinds of people who find themselves to be drawn to broadcasting: attention whores, and no, actually just attention whores, now that I think about it. For the most part.
I was gonna say two types of people. Well, then, you'd be one type, I'd be one type. And then when you said attention whores, I'm like, wait, that covers both of us.
Right. At the end of the day, like, you either have to think that you have an opinion which is so different and so important that the world would be a better place were you to spew your word vomit out into this world,
Yeah.
So
that sounds about right.
right. Or
if everyone would just listen to me, we wouldn't be in this mess.
Well, but the problem with the internet is that because everybody has a megaphone, and here's the weird part. To this day, I don't fully understand why more people don't broadcast. And I think it's because I am part of this group of people who tends to just enjoy sharing things. Like, that's it. It's my show has never been about me. But like,
I think everyone's on TikTok now. Isn't that the thing?
Yeah, TikTok.
That's all I know about TikTok is there's some old lady that keeps squirting herself in the face with soda. That's all I can tell you about TikTok.
Well, I mean, TikTok is a really cool platform. And the stuff that you see on TikTok that is like really high end, there really is some work that goes into that 8 seconds of video.
Well, it's basically the new Vine.
Right. And, that's fine. I have yet to play around on it because I have other shit to do. Like,
I just watch the things that people post on YouTube that come from it. I don't even know. What is it? An app? Is it a website?
Yes, it's an app. Gators.
All I know is that at some point the good ones find their way onto YouTube, which is where I watch them.
See, I've never really gotten into YouTube, but I'm convinced that YouTube will be, and like, it's pretty clear to me that Google intends it to be this way. YouTube will turn into a social network, but it's a social network that is self-selecting and that is backwards from the traditional Facebook, Instagram.
No, YouTube's basically the new cable.
Well, that too. And you got to understand, if you have all of this information about people because, well, you're Google, then for the most part, a self-selecting. So think of it like a Nielsen rating times the number, instead of having to do this market segmentation shit, think of it where the group is as small as one. And that's how the market segment plays out. And that's true. Like that's how it works. That's why I'm saying it is a social network, because what happens is people tend to self-select into these groups, and the groups don't actually have anything to do with anything at all, aside from the fact that people tend to subscribe to things, and those subscriptions become their own market segment. You probably are, let me put it this way, and I mean, I hope this is true. Most people who are on YouTube are subscribing probably, I don't know. I mean, do you think that there is a group of people who have exactly the same subscriptions? I suppose that's possible. My point is, everybody is different a little bit somehow.
Right.
So I would like to think.
I mean, somewhere out there are two people that were crazy enough to subscribe to my latest YouTube channel, The Computer Bar, where I ramble on about computers while standing at my bar.
Perfect. And you whore.
No, it's not even worth whoring out. It's a total fail. But I did rebuy my childhood computer and fixed it up. Not my actual childhood computer that got left on the curb for the garbage man to take years ago. But I found another one of the same model. It's not easy to find.
What was your childhood computer, dare I ask?
The Computerland BC88.
Ooh. That is not a normal computer. Mine was an 8086 from AT&T.
Well, here's one thing that's interesting, because I've been keeping an eye out. I actually put a search on Craigslist to alert me anytime someone posts something in my area that includes the term 8088. And I can now tell you that today there's someone in my area whose phone number includes the digits 8088 that has posted a whole bunch of stuff for sale today.
Well,
so that was not a smart search term to
algorithm fail. You forgot the principal rule of computing, Gators. Computers are really dumb at 1,000,000 miles an hour, and they will do exactly what you tell them to.
And it did.
And it did.
Now I know their phone number includes 8088 in it. And I know this because everything they listed for sale today, I've gotten an email alert about.
Well, so if you're going to go the Facebook way, the way to fix automation is not by improving your algorithms. It's by further automating the process. So what you do is you go into Gmail and you set up a filter that excludes things that include your area code. You know, you would basically just sort those into a thing and then archive them automatically. Because instead of actually fixing your search, you should just automate it further.
Well, it's kind of like this. I go on the Craigslist looking for something specific and no one has it. And so instead of just going, oh, well, I guess I'll have to wait, I lower my standards, broaden my horizons, and, you know, stop limiting my search so that there's actually more things for me to look through. Because let's face it, half of the fun of buying stuff is looking for it. So, you know, so that's why I ended up with such a broad generalized search term of 8088, because then it was actually fun to get an email every now and then.
I'm starting to understand why you own so much crap, Gators. If part of the fun for you is like the thrill of the hunt.
Oh, yeah.
Now, let me give you a pretty great reason why New Mexico Craigslist is not a place to buy anything. I am right here, and I just went to Albuquerque Craigslist, okay? I went to for sale. That's it. So this is, you know, albuquerque.craigslist.org/for sale. This is like the naked feed that is straight up.
Everything that's for sale.
Everything that's for sale. It's uncurated. So let's see what we have here.
We got used face masks.
Right. Disposable face masks that say in stock, because this is clearly like a rebrand from like eBay.
Vamp, I got to ask a very important question. Speaking of things that are hard to find, how come I can't find packets of yeast, but I could easily buy a 1 pound sack of yeast?
Oh, easy. That has to do with the way that supply chains are different between restaurants, between professional food service and grocery stores. The two have
had 2 months to rebalance this now. They can't get
Gators. It took 50 years to build.
I am at the point where I'm considering buying a 1 pound sack of yeast, using what I need, and then measuring the rest out in the Ziploc baggies to sell out of my car in the parking lot of the grocery store.
That's a great idea. How much exactly are we talking about with respect to the cost of yeast?
I could probably get a 1 pound bag for like $20-25.
Well, then what are you complaining about? The worst you're going to do is burn $20.
Because that would be wasteful to throw out that much yeast when it goes past the
Then give it away to your neighbors. And Gators, it's fucking yeast.
I don't talk to my neighbors. I'm not going to start knocking on the door going, hey, nice to meet you.
Here's a little bag of powder. Have some bag.
Have some yeast, please. Take my yeast. That sounds wrong.
Well, no, I mean,
why.
It sounds just fine to me. I have no idea what you're talking about. But like, no, at the end of the day, I mean, I think the right way to do this is if you see a problem, which clearly there is one, here's a fun fact. You can actually call, and I've done this since COVID, you can actually call like, you know, any place, like the local pizza place, like any place that uses yeast. Bakeries will sell you a small amount of yeast. And like, because for them, it's just straight up money. But this has to do with supply chains. So if you have a local bakery that you like, call them up, be like, this is a little weird, but I need a pound of flour and a sack of yeast, and I don't care if you charge me $5 for it and it cost you $0.25.
I did find flour. That was at the second grocery store I went to. But they only had the small bags, and they had a limit of only 2 bags per customer. Although if I went back today and wore a different color mask, I could probably buy another 2 bags, but I won't do that because I'm not a dick.
I just don't think that they're worried about that, and I think they have no reason to worry about that. If the limitation is by the day, great.
I don't know what the limitation is. Just limited to 2 2-pound sacks of flour or 1 5-pound sack. But there were no 5-pound sacks, so I bought 2 2-pound sacks.
I don't know. Anyway, back to Craigslist. Here's the very top of 2018 Chrysler Pacifica Touring wheelchair handicap mobility van, $40,000. That's the first thing that's on there. Next, disposable face masks that are clearly a drop ship from eBay. Next, a 2017 Pontiac Vibe. Yours for $2,750. Oh, here's a good one. Rugs, wool, highest quality. Okay, I guess. After that, this is just creepy as shit. This looks like a kitchen cabinet that was spray painted silver. And that's exactly what it is. Oh my God. Look at that. They just spray painted it. Prices for one shed. They're calling this shed, which is, by the way, a kitchen cabinet.
Okay.
These cost about $160 new. The fuck they do. This is somebody's kitchen cabinets that they've spray painted.
Yeah, that's a cabinet.
Well, in
That's
cabinets,
not a storage shed.
So here's a fun fact: cabinets actually cost more. A cabinet. Okay, so a client of mine flips houses, and you learn a lot of weird stuff when your client flips houses. So here's the one that really got me. Is like, what is the most expensive thing about flipping a house? You know, what is, like, if we have to switch this, what's the most expensive thing that we have to buy? And I'm like, well, furnace. Like, these are pretty obvious guesses, right? A furnace, a kitchen sink, a stove. Yep. He said, so a roof is number one. A stove is number two and number three. Number one are kitchen cabinets. Isn't that insane?
That is. I would think the roof would be more than the cabinets.
Well, I mean, I feel like that might be a moot point, because the cost in general, he probably would pass on a house that has a fucked up roof, because it's
yeah.
So, patching a single hole, not a big deal. Patching a whole roof, like where you don't know where the leak is coming from and you've got, like, water damage and mold, holy shit, that would be no good. All right, I continue on this soiree. And if I find anything that I want, we're totally calling them on the air. A Sony camcorder tripod, yours for $20.
$20, that's not bad.
A caboodles bag. What the fuck is it? Is this like one of these girl things that I've never heard about? A caboodles bag. It says caboodles bag never used, retailed for $30, asking $15. Okay. Samsung soundbar and subwoofer, $75. This person, I love it when people are like, it costs this much. This looks like
$75. We can make sure that no one is ever plagued by the awful sound of this thing ever again by destroying it.
Right. That's right.
Huh?
Student desk. What? A student desk.
When you start saying that, I thought you were going to say student debt, like someone's just selling their student debt.
Remember these desks? These are some old-timey desks.
Yeah, those are.
I hope they come in pairs, because you're not going to get a desk and a stool if you only buy one. Look at this. That is some creepy ass shit. How many do they have in Corrales?
I get the idea, because then you just, arrange them one behind the other. And so you're basically writing on the back of someone else's seat.
Yeah,
but they don't work by themselves. That
is really creepy. Ah, look, a 15-inch Rwanda basket for $25.
So, what do you know about television repair?
You mean modern television repair?
No, CRT television repair.
Nearly nothing. I mean, I know how televisions work. I know how a cathode ray, like an electron gun and a cathode ray tube and a phosphorescent screen. I know it in principle, but I've never messed with them.
See, because I have a CRT, a CGA CRT monitor that well, it makes a noise when it turns on, and I see a flicker on the screen when it turns off, but it doesn't bring up any picture or anything. And I don't think it's the CRT tube itself, because also the display lights don't work. So there's something not turning on. And I did open it up and poke around a little bit, and I didn't electrocute myself. So I know enough to do that, but I can't figure out how to fix it. I need to make friends with an electrical engineer.
It is almost certainly a vertical sync issue.
Well, wouldn't I have a messed up picture if it was a vertical sync issue?
No, that would be a partial vertical sync. That would assume that you have a lock on red, green, or blue. And so that's what happens when you've got a vertical sync, but one of them keeps going in and out of sync. If you have a vertical sync where you can't get a sync, then it can't actually mux the picture, and like it won't render anything. It won't, because it doesn't know where to start the scan.
Well, it's also not now CGA monitors, when you turn them on, display a white screen.
Yes, Gators, I'm aware.
I'm not getting a white screen.
Okay. I don't know enough about it to answer that. Again, you're like, well, that's nice. I think I'm just going to proceed as if you say, I really know what I'm doing.
Yeah, no. Well, I mean, I know how to discharge the CRT tube so that you can work on it without electrocuting yourself. I know that much.
You found the de Gauss switch.
Well, no, you get a screwdriver, and you get an alligator clip and a wire. You rub you connect the wire to the screwdriver. You clip the clip to ground, and then you put the screwdriver under the cap for the clip on the CRT, so that you could it'll discharge through the wire to ground, and not up the handle through your hand.
Well, you're ahead of me. Oh, here's a. Oh man, this said $0, which I thought was a steal. A Uline mail cart. This looks like an actual USPS mail cart. Like it was stolen from the fucking post office.
And now they're selling it on
$150 or best offer cash.
That's pure profit right there.
I bet that is actually in the parking lot right now of the freaking post office. Like I bet that's where they took the
Someone
picture.
Just drove by. I was like, oh my God, I could sell that right now.
Yes. That is beyond frightening to me.
This is why the post office is in trouble.
Right. It's all those carts that I guarantee cost the taxpayers more than $150.
Easily.
Wow. That frightens the shit out of me. I don't even know where to start with that. Do you want to do another hour? Or do you want to wrap it? It's up to you.
Oh, we could do another hour.
All right.
I never do just 1 hour of radio.
I mean, to me, it's like potato chips, and like people don't really understand that this is that really is kind of an addiction. Like you end up enjoying it. It's cathartic in a way that you didn't expect it to be. Until it is, until you are whatever.
Until you have a bad show and end up cursing out your co-hosts for 5 minutes, and then they don't speak to you the rest of the week. But that's okay, because they always forgive and forget.
Right. If you're Gators co-hosts,
they all showed up the last show.
Right, exactly. So, I mean, who cares? Anyway, okay, well, let me queue up a break here. Let me see. How am I going to do
breaks?
this?
What are those?
Right, you don't believe in breaks. I do believe in breaks. I'm just surprised that you're not going and getting. Oh, yeah, that's right. You don't drink on weekdays.
No, I haven't drank on weekdays in many years now.
I haven't. How long has it been? When's the last time I drank? I don't remember. It makes me feel like an asshole when I say stuff like this, because I know that people who drank the way that I used to usually know to the day how long they've been sober.
But you didn't do it the way they did it. You just stopped drinking one day. You're just like, okay, not doing this anymore, and that's that. You know,
I know.
It doesn't have to be a big deal.
Well, but for a lot of people, it is a big deal. So let me put it this way: I'm not trying to be an asshat when I say that, because for those Gators knows, but like I drank a fuckload. I drank like an insane amount.
You went through vodka like it was water.
Yes.
And we got the pictures to prove it.
Yes, that is correct. That is exactly what I did. And so my point is,
sad I wasn't there the night you passed out in front of the camera and Rye couldn't wake you up, but I heard all about it, and it was great fun for everyone but you.
I just don't care. That's like that was easily a decade ago. And keep in mind, I mean, I started this show straight up knowing that I had no interest in ever running for political office. And in case I ever get the idea of running for political office, this show is what keeps me honest, because there's just no way around it. I should never. It requires a special level of psychopath to.
Well, I don't know. I mean, in this day and age, the standards of who can run for public office have been greatly lowered. I mean, it worked.
Why?
For Trump.
Because of Trump?
Yeah.
See, here's the thing. I wish
the people want people that go around grabbing people by the pussy, apparently. So, just see, I'm saying that's what we do.
That is only true if you are willing to commit to not giving a fuck about anyone completely. You have to be completely deaf to criticism. I am not that person. I feel like people like that start behaving erratically anytime they're. So if you have even a small sense that like what you do can be wrong, that the Trump model doesn't work. Here's the thing that people, I think, overlook. Donald Trump is brilliant in exactly one way that I am certain of. He is really, really good at figuring out what matters to people that like him and what doesn't. And that's it. Like, it is. I don't even want to get into the fact that he lies, because he does. I mean, plenty of politicians lie, and also so do people. So who cares? But at the end of the day, the real gross incompetence of a single person. Like, did you see the 3-minute message that W recorded about unity? That went all over the internet. I watched that, and I'm like, I really missed that man. And I'm like, what did I just say? Fuck.
I gotta say, Trump has really helped W's image, because now, in my mind, W has gone down to the second worst president ever in the history of the United States.
Well, but see, here's the thing, and like, this is something I had never realized before. W listened to experts. He recognized that he wasn't the guy that knows everything about everything on every topic in any room. I'm not convinced that Donald Trump.
The problem is Cheney was that expert at sometimes.
Well, that was a problem, yes.
Yes.
But at the end of the day, like everybody else, I don't think that Trump has lowered the bar for elected officials, unless you are willing to commit completely to this sense of whatever comes out of my mouth at that moment is the truth, and after it's out of my mouth, it no longer matters.
I mean, he's flip-flopped on what he says within a 5-minute period.
Well, but
and his followers still take it as, but he tells it how it is. It's like, dude, which time? Pick one. You have to pick only one of those two things that are the complete opposite.
Don't you understand what you're proving? My point. He is so confounding that that people have a hard time challenging him, because he said everything at some point, and it's so contradictory that no person could ever really understand it, like from a complete holistic point of view. It's not possible.
The thing is that the real problem is that we have reached a climate in this country now that Trump is being applauded for creating further division and casting the other half of the country as the enemy. I mean, if there's one thing, there are two things that one should really consider as in the age of Trump winning an election without the popular vote, I might point out, but whatever. Okay.
Oh, get over it. It's been 3 years.
No, I will not get over that. That is absolutely asinine that the person with the least amount of votes is declared the winner.
Gators, your issue
wrong with that
your
system.
issue is with the Electoral College, not with Donald Trump.
My issue is with the Electoral College and Donald Trump. But the thing is here is A, what has gone on in this country that half of the country's response to this is, my cup is filled with the liberal tears. I mean, that they're they're not only applauding their win, but they're applauding their suck it losers attitude, because I've never wanted that division. And when Obama won, I wanted Obama to be an inclusive president and to bring us together. And I believe that Obama tried to do that. Now, the Republicans rejected that outright and blocked him every chance they could get for his 8 years. But I really wanted to, but Trump has not even tried to bring that spirit of unity.
No.
And
why does that upset you, Gators? Who cares?
But the thing that everyone needs to consider is just because you won doesn't mean that the other half of the country is suddenly going to disappear. We're not going away. But we're not changing our minds.
In his mind, it does. Again, you keep saying like Donald Trump's election lowers the standard. No, it doesn't, because I've never
a comment I made in jest. That wasn't really the crux of my
I've never seen a person who can commit so totally to an argument that whatever they say at that moment is something that they believe and therefore is the truth. And then after that, it doesn't matter. And why are you bringing it up? It's not, people always go with like, whoa, he's just a psychopath. No, psychopaths aren't that consistent. Like, he is the something else, and that's great. I think he's a perfectly fine person who's allowed to go and bully whoever he wants. I just wish he wasn't the president. All right, we're gonna go on a break. We're gonna take 10 minutes. I'm gonna do the replay right now, and Gators, just stick around. I'm gonna try to do this switcheroo for simplicity. You won't hear it, but you'll see it.
Okay.
All right. ADHD Radio, back in 5 or 10. No idea what he just said. Like, no idea. I have no idea.
This is great.
What you got?
Boy 5 pulled over on his way to buy a Lamborghini after argument with parents.
Aw, poor kid.
A Utah Highway Patrol trooper got a pint-sized surprise when he pulled over a 5-year-old driver who was swerving so badly he thought the driver needed medical attention. Trooper Rick Morgan said the boy did not respond to his lights, but pulled over when he hit his siren.
Oh, boy.
On Interstate 15 in Ogden on Monday. He was going about 30 miles an hour at the time. I approached the vehicle. I was expecting to find somebody who needed an ambulance or paramedics.
Okay.
But when the window came down, Morgan said it was pretty clear that it was a very underage driver who was behind the wheel.
Not just a little, mind you.
The boy was sitting on the edge of his seat to reach the brake pedal.
Oh, boy.
When asked, Morgan said the boy told him he was going to his sister's house in California. The boy told another trooper that he wanted to buy a Lamborghini when he got there, and then he flashed open his wallet showing his cash to purchase his dream car, $3.
Nice.
It's awesome.
Fucking gangster.
His parents were contacted and they came and took custody of their son in the vehicle. The 5-year-old had only made it 2 or 3 miles or about 5 minutes from his home before he was pulled over, according to CNN.
Aww.
The sibling was supposed to be watching him.
Yeah.
When his parents were away. What the fuck, sibling? No one was hurt and no property was damaged, but charges could still be filed against the boy's parents. Yeah, you think?
Yeah, you think.
Ugh. That's just fucking crazy.
That is beyond crazy. I kind of love it. Kind of love it, motherfucker.
Did you want to set up a break?
I could do that, but you better have one more in the pipe because it's going to take me a second.
Oh, sure. The National Weather Service issued a dust advisory on April 27th in eastern Washington after wind gusts of more than 40 miles an hour kicked up a wall of sediment.
Wall o' sediment.
We have reports of blowing dust near Dusty. Seriously, near the town of Dusty.
Dusty, like, no. Like, Dusty's a town, and that's totally where we are.
On SR 26 and SR 127, the NWS tweeted. According to Fox News, the Washington State Patrol reported that SR 26 was fully blocked about 3 miles outside of Dusty after a car and semi-truck crashed. The highway remained closed for about 6 hours.
Wow.
There's dust and Dusty.
Dust and Dusty.
Where's that dust? It's in Dusty.
I mean, like, where else would it be? It's in Dusty.
I'm not sure.
I mean, surveys out, sir. Like, we don't actually have all the possibilities out there, but we're gonna go out on a limb and say, like, it's probably in Dusty.
Asian murder hornets.
Oh boy, I knew this was gonna come up somehow, somewhere, some way. I knew this was gonna come up, and like there was kind of no way around it.
Both a lethal threat and a tasty treat in Japan.
Oh no. Okay, I wasn't expecting that, but okay.
Murder hornets.
They're delicious.
Highland High School's mascot is the hornet.
Uh-huh.
They should be the Highland murder hornets.
Murder
hornet sounds like infinitely cooler
murder
than
hornets.
just like a regular hornet.
Oh, they are definitely better than like a regular hornet.
Long before insects found their way to American shores, some Japanese prized them for their numbing crunch and venomous buzz they add to liquor. Oh, wow. Asian giant hornets from Japan.
Japanese hornets!
There they are.
Gotta love the Japanese hornets, man.
Long before the Asian giant hornet began terrorizing the honeybees of Washington state, the ferocious insects posed a sometimes lethal threat to hikers and farmers in the mountains of rural Japan.
Oh, Dune's listening on Twitch. Hey, Dune, I got Skype working. So, like, after the break, we're gonna do, I'm not kidding, a quick break. You hear that, Kevin? Quick break. I want Dune to Skype in because I really want to like see if I actually got Skype audio and video to work. I figured out how to do a mix minus in the Adhd switcher and like actually have the hardware and the encoder to make it look what I believe to be respectable. I haven't tried it yet, so this will be an on-air test of why the fuck not.
In the central Chubu region, these insects, sometimes called murder hornets,
are
now known for more than their aggression and excruciating sting. They're seen as a pleasant snack and an invigorating ingredient in sports drinks.
Wow.
The giant hornet, along with other varieties of wasp, has traditionally been considered a delicacy in this rugged part of the country. The grubs are often preserved in jars, pan-fried, or steamed with rice to make a savory dish called hibogohan.
Why am I not surprised?
The adults, which can be 2 inches long, are fried on skewers.
This is a horrible idea. Like, can I just go out on a limb here and be like, this is a terrible idea, because it is.
Until the carpaccio comes out light and crunchy. They leave a warming, tingling sensation when eaten. The hornets can also give liquor an extra kick. Live specimens are drowned in sochu, a clear distilled beverage.
Okay.
In their death throes, the insects release their venom into the liquid, and it's stored until it turns a dark shade of amber. The real thrill, however, is not eating or drinking the giant hornet, but in the hunt.
Wait, so the venom is delicious?
Apparently. Setting out
I have
in the
so
early
many questions.
Morning months, intrepid hunters track the insects to their huge nests, which can house as many as 1,000 hornets and their larvae.
Wow. I have so many questions.
The nests are rooted out by professional exterminators.
Okay.
Torao Suzuki, 75, said he removed 40 to 50 nests a year, getting stung as many as 30 times each season. It hurts, it swells, it turns red, but that's about it. I guess I'm immune.
Dude, this guy's a fucking ninja. Wow.
Like, Mr. Suzuki,
wow.
You're pretty badass.
You are a fucking champion.
He says he does not eat the bugs himself. Even when I tell people they're going to sting you, they even eat them. They say it makes them potent.
No, no, it makes them Darwin's. There's so much wrong with that.
Mr. Suzuki has also sold the nests, which are popular trophies around the region. Lacquered brown hives, sometimes cut open to expose the complex latticework, adorn vestibules and reception rooms in homes, schools, and public offices.
Okay.
Historians say the insects, which range throughout Asia, are found most commonly in Japan, were once valued along with other wasps as a cheap source of protein in the poverty-stricken rural areas. The cuisine is celebrated each November in Gifu Prefecture at the festival known as Kushihara Hibo Matsuri, where prizes are handed out for the largest nest.
I have so many questions right now.
Murder hornets.
They're delicious. Like, we're just going to say they're delicious.
I love that warm feeling.
Warm feeling of murder hornet. All right, more of ADHD radio right after this.
You could essentially die of, what's the name of the disease where...
Oh, wrong one.
You could basically, like, every man, woman, and child could contract cholera right now.
No, will still be enough toilet paper.
A disease that kills you by making you shit yourself to death. You die of dehydration. Every man, woman, and child could die of freaking cholera, and it wouldn't matter one lick. So, like, at this point, as far as I'm concerned, it's nuts. Like, the whole thing is nuts. It shouldn't even be considered to be a thing. It's all like off the wall, batshit crazy. And it just generally hurts my soul.
The Lobothon 2020 dance marathon has been canceled.
Oh, well, in that case, who cares?
I know y'all were waiting for that.
What the fuck is the Lobothon anyway?
I don't know. It's a dance party.
It's a dance party, huh?
That's what it says.
Poor kids aren't going to have a chance to, I mean, is it a high school thing?
The Lobothon?
Yeah.
Sounds like it's a college thing.
Right. So, like, does this just mean that kids aren't going to have a moment to...
This comes from the Daily Lobo.
Oh, well...
Hopes were set high for the Lobothon in 2020, but with the coronavirus pandemic causing cancellations and closures all across campus, this year's dance marathon later has also been canceled.
Oh, man. Poor college kids.
With the recent confirmation of cases of COVID-19, estimated 100,000 people around the world have been affected. The World Health Organization declared a pandemic outbreak as of March 11th. Governor Michelle Lujan Grisham banned events exceeding 100 persons on March 12th and declared a state of emergency. The University of New Mexico followed suit and canceled any event exceeding 50 persons. This has resulted in the cancellation of many events, including sporting games. Oh, yeah, I'm sick about those sporting games.
Oh, man, let me tell you.
Concerts, festivals, and movies. With heavy hearts and disappointment, the UNM administration at CDC and the UNM Children's Hospital will postpone the Lobothon, which was scheduled for March 28th. Reported by Lobothon Executive Board. The board is still unsure when the event will be moved to, but the main focus of the mission is to adjust for miracle children and the children that enter the UNM Children's Hospital.
No, the main event is for college kids to
I'm guessing they dance and people donate based on how long they dance for.
The point is for college kids to get twisted on drugs and then to fuck each other like rabbits.
Last year, the fundraising team broke their $100,000 goal and raised $103,000, with this year's goal set at $111,000.
Mm-hmm.
But
All right. Gators, we're back.
All right, we're back.
Yay.
Oh, that startled the cat.
Startled the cat. Well, you know, I do my best to startle your cat whenever possible.
The cat was just lying here. It was peacefully quiet. I was just sitting here in contemplative thought. And then I start talking and radio announcer voice in the mic. Cat's like, yep, I'm out. Yep. Nope, I'm going over there where it's quiet.
Cat's like, yeah, fuck it. All right. So, yes, welcome back to half hour number, whatever this is, of ADHD Radio, or hour number 2, I suppose, depending upon how you decide to count it. Yeah.
The third half of the ADHD Radio.
The third half of ADHD Radio. Let me tell you, like it's an action-packed hour of this, that, and the other, and Johnny Gator is finally being able to say what he wants about Donald Trump on the air because he can never do that on his own show.
Oh no, I could never do that on my own. Well, I could try to do that, and I can get bits and pieces out, and then like Lulu cuts me off, and then sets my mind on another direction, and then Lulu cuts me off and sets my mind on another direction. And I've found that once I get on 5 different partial tracks at the same time, that's when I just lose track of what I'm trying to say 5 different ways, and then I just get angry and yell.
Lovely. Well, suffice it to say, oh well, what you gonna do?
Oh.
What you gonna do? That's right.
That's why I collect records instead. Far more fun.
That's right. Yep, that is what matters. Finally, I got this. I'm still trying to get your gate right. I love using digital mixers because stuff like a gate works so well with digital.
Yeah, I guess it would.
Well, I mean, the problem with when you do like a TRS insert is like your levels have to be perfect or the gate is going to like crumble. It gives you that horrible crumble sound. And like that makes me fucking crazy. And because you're using a condenser mic, you probably have some room tone. Like it's just.
Well, I've got a gate on my channel.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah, I think it's because Skype is just gaining like crazy or there's some noise somewhere. But like the nice thing about the digital mixer, I don't know, you should think about getting one of these video switchers. The ATEM Mini, which as you can imagine is back ordered for eons at this point because.
No, I spent all my money on old computers. I'm going to build a 486 next.
Really? Why?
I want my next machine, my next hobby machine to be a good machine for the Windows 3.1 era.
Okay, you still haven't answered my question. What is the value of the Windows 3.1 era? Do you want, like, are you actually just looking for something that will use your sound card?
No, I already built that. That's why I got the XP machine over across the hall. I rebuilt build number 1. I bought the same motherboard and 3.0 gigahertz Pentium 4 processor from the first build I did in Maine that was basically amateur hour machine number 1, so that I could use my Turtle Beach Santa Cruz sound card and my All-in-Wonder Pro video card and something. And it's a pretty killer Windows XP machine, and it dual boots in 98.
Do you still use this machine?
Well, yeah, I need something it's a good machine for writing disk images of 5.25 inch discs.
Right, because that is a very common practice these days.
Well, I needed something to make the discs for the compact portable that I was fixing up.
Okay, you still haven't. This is just a freaking rat hole at this point. Why do you need a compact? Like, are you using this stuff in broadcast? Like at a certain point. Go on.
Oh, this is for pleasure. Tell me you wouldn't have fun playing around with a compact portable.
I wouldn't have fun playing around with a compact portable.
You lie.
I have emulators for anything I want, Gators.
that there's emulators and there's original hardware. I mean, emulators is fine if you want to play around with some software, but if you really want to do something, you got to get the original hardware and get that working again. I mean, it's like the difference of playing Nintendo on an emulator in a window on your screen, or getting out a Nintendo system and getting out the cartridges and connecting it to a CRT TV and having the real experience.
Okay, but I hated the real experience. The fucking thing would do that blue and white screen. And
that was because of the lockout chip. You just lift a pin on the chip and it stops that.
Right, for those of us who love taking apart our Nintendos. I mean, I don't like playing video games. Maybe it's just because I don't like playing video games for an extended period of time. For me, a video game is something like I want to be able to hit play. I want to do it for a short period of time. And then, 5 minutes later, when like the feeling has passed me, I like being done with it.
Well, you know me, my interest in technology is twofold. I am interested in the latest and greatest that technology offers and what is coming down the pike and what futuristic things we could do with technology. But you know that historical technology has always interested and fascinated me. Hence my Edison cylinders on the shelf behind me. And the same is true with computers. I think it's fun to fire up and play around with an old vintage computer. And I fixed up a compact portable. I fixed up a Computerland BC88, which are both 8088 processor machines. And I built a XP98 dual boot machine, which is functional for, using some old hardware I had and making discs for older machines. Now I need to fill that gap with something that does a really good job with Windows 3.1 era stuff. So obviously that's going to be a 486.
I mean, Gators, like when it comes to Nintendo, you can go right now to emulator.online/NES. And for the low price of having to install Adobe Flash Player, which I don't even want to talk about, you can straight away, look at this, you can straight away get any Nintendo, and this shit is free.
Look, I've got Nintendo emulators. I've got ROMs on my computer. I got an NES Classic hooked up to this TV, loaded with a bunch of ROMs because I hacked it. I got the SNES Classic. I've got emulators. I got ROMs. But I've also got my original Nintendo, Super Nintendo, my Nintendo 64, and GameCube and PlayStation 2 hooked up to the 32-inch Sony Trinitron CRT TV that weighs a fucking ton in my dining room because I never entertain.
Your wife is either blind or loves you, because a Sony Trinitron monitor weighs like 100 pounds, and they're not easy to move, and they're fucking dust magnets because of the amount of static that they create. Like just the electron gun alone, it is insane.
Yeah, I found the one ad from the person. You see, most Craigslist ads for free 32-inch Sony Trinitron TVs have the stipulation, bring to your friends, we're not moving it. I found the one guy that basically wanted to get rid of the things. When I called up and I said, can you give me a hand getting in my car? Yeah, sure, come on down. I'm like, oh, we got a live one here. He's going to help me move it. This is great. He regretted that about 2 seconds. He was on the second floor, so we had to go down a flight of stairs. But we did get it into my car. Of course, I had to get it from my car into the house by myself. Once I got into the house, though, I just put it on a piece of carpet and dragged it across the room and lifted it up on the table. And that is where that TV will stay forever.
Until you smash it with a baseball bat. That there it lies. Like that's where it will be from now until the end of time.
But you're not a gamer, and I'm not saying I'm a gamer, but I like video games. You don't like video games, so but for me, there's a difference between it's fun to play games on emulators. The classics, the NES Classic things are fun, but there's nothing that's quite the same as playing it on original hardware on a big CRT TV.
Yeah,
not to mention
because you've got the motion blur. That's the only thing I can think of that digital doesn't do better.
It just doesn't feel the same. I mean, you can emulate lines, you can emulate blur, or whatever. It's not about that. It's about the experience. It's like this.
This is the okay. Now you are one of these people, and please correct me if I'm wrong. You are one of these people who are convinced that vinyl sounds better.
No.
Oh, thank God. I'm sorry. Vinyl sounds better in a vacuum if you have like to a computer. If you can do a wave transparency, like so you can actually tell the difference between a sample rate. And keep in mind, when I'm talking about sample rates, like right now my card is at 4,800. Or I'm sorry, 48,000, right?
48K.
Yeah, 48,000 cycles, meaning the sine wave is chopped into 48,000 things every single second, and then it is sampled.
And everyone out there is listening to it at 44.1K, so they're getting all kinds of digital harmonic distortions being induced in there through that conversion. But that's okay.
Actually, I'm using hardware converters for that, so there's basically none of that.
Well, you could just set it to 44.1, but
no, I can't set it to 44.1 because the encoders are actually the encoders are going to Restream, and Restream does the conversion. And in order to get the lip sync correct, you have to use SMPTE standard. And SMPTE standard, for those of you that don't know, it has never been 44.1. It's always been 48.
Well, yeah, video's always been based on 48, audio is based on 44.1, and that's Beethoven's fault. But anyways, the debate you're alluding to is the classic vinyl versus CD debate, which sometimes gets equated to the analog versus digital debate. But those are two very different debates because vinyl and CD are both not the best that either has to offer. When it comes to analog versus digital, there's only one loser, and that's the human ear.
Oh, God. Yes, you mean the way that everyone actually perceives audio?
I mean, when you take, I mean, yeah, the human ear sucks, plain and simple. So you take the best digital has to offer and put it up against the best analog has to offer, we're not going to hear the difference. Now, when you get to vinyl versus CD, there is some, scientific basis on that vinyl can hold higher frequencies than CD are capable of doing because due to the Nyquist theorem,
that's
CD
by fucking design.
And that's by design. Now, it's debatable whether or not that increased frequency range is detectable by the human ear, and there are plenty of people that have debated that till the cows come home. A lot of them will sell you audio equipment that will reproduce those frequencies for you. But really, when it comes to what you're hearing the difference of, let's keep in mind, mastering is a huge factor in how things sound like. And the mastering to CD could be completely different from the mastering to the vinyl. So listening to your record and then listening to your CD to decide which one sounds better, you're comparing different mastering artists. You're not comparing.
Yes, but there are times when it has been mastered in a way that is identical.
Yeah, but generally not. I mean, a lot of times things are reissued years later by a different mastering artist or different technology. I mean, let's keep it. CD technology, digital technology has evolved a lot. First run CDs were mastered very differently from the way they're mastering today. Although there's a preference among some audiophiles for the earlier CD masterings, but that's because of the loudness wars, because they just decide, oh, louder sounds better. And so things are mastered louder at the cost of the dynamic range. That's a whole, I mean, there's so many factors.
So when you get into audiophiles, the only thing you can be sure about is that they won't agree on anything.
Well, there's too much, you can't make any broad sweeping generalized statements that vinyl's better than CD. There's pros and cons to so many things, and there's so many variables. Just buy it all.
Right. That is the Gators solution, is just buy everything and throw none of it away. And hope that your wife won't notice.
Oh, she don't care. She loves it.
Very good. I could get into the Nyquist theorem, but that would really put the audience to sleep. I think it's about as true as truth can be that people generally think that the Nyquist theorem, which by the way is the Nyquist-Shannon sampling theorem, if we want to be really anal.
Yeah, but we're not that anal, so we won't.
Right. We would never do something like that, like drop a useless piece of knowledge on the audience.
You would. I wouldn't. No, but I'll just say that I have a lot more respect. I used to think to myself, yeah, the Nyquist theorem, that's all fine and dandy, but at the Nyquist theorem, of 44.1 kilohertz being able to support up to 22.05, that would make a sine wave into a triangle wave, and those are not the same and identical. And so I always kind of bought into that audiophile theory that you're not getting a true representation of the wave.
It's not a triangle wave, Gators. It's a really small set of triangles, but that's.
But what swayed me on that and made me basically go, okay, these people know what they're talking about. This Nyquist dude, cool guy in my book, is the exercise of demodulating CD4 quadradisc records on a computer by recording in the records at a 96 kilohertz sampling rate, and then being able to pull out the 30 kilohertz carrier signal with that sampling.
Yes. So what Gators just basically said was, if the Nyquist theorem is true, the samples of two sine waves can be identical when at least one of them is at a frequency above half the sample rate. So basically, that I just in one sentence said what the Nyquist theorem is. The idea is you can basically recreate any sort of thing that you see in an oscilloscope, assuming that at least one of them is at a frequency above. So if you're cutting it at least twice the sample rate, then you can recreate it. And what Gators just said was, what convinced me was that somebody sampled this digital thing and then they pulled out a set frequency. Oh, of course you did. Pulled out
right
a
here
set
on this turntable.
Pulled out a set frequency. And what he found was that there was no variance, no determined.
What I found was that it was able to successfully decode out the front and the rear channels, and I could demodulate a CD4 quadradisc using a digital capture of that record at a 96 kilohertz sampling rate.
Correct. Which means
I was surprised it worked.
If there was, well, of course it worked, Gators.
Well, it's a lot more complicated than that.
Well, but it isn't. Like, your input and your output worked whether your source was analog or digital.
Well, yeah, but yeah. So I captured the record, which first of all, there's that, and it barely worked the way I was doing it. But I found another group of people that were able to do it much better. But here is the ultimate punchline here. You're going to love this. I find online this group that makes audio software that basically were like, is anyone interested in software that will decode CD4 quadraphonic records? Let us know. And I'm like, dude, I would love that. I'd buy your software in a heartbeat if you did that. Oh my God, that's great. We'll go ahead and do that. Do you have any files you can send us that we can test with? Oh my God, can I record in some files for you? Let me send them to you. Okay, great. That'll be coming out in 3 to 6 months. Turns out their software only available on Macs.
Oh, that burns.
I did borrow a Mac Mini from work, and I do have the software on that, and it does work. So there you go. That's
fucking beautiful. I love it because usually that ends up going the other way. What happens is people assume, in general, if you're a Windows user, you assume your shit's going to work on Windows. Usually it's the other way around, and the Mac users get fucked because some sort of piece of software is compiled only for Windows. And if it does work, or if there is a Mac version that's not compiled for Mac, then it's insanely buggy. I found
in the audio world, though, keep in mind, I mean, Pro Tools, that was pretty much Mac based. Now they make a PC version. But,
yes, and it was fucking awful.
Macs.
Well, the studios are running Macs because the G5 was one of the best recording machines of all time. And I don't care what anybody says. The G5s from IBM, like that processor, not only beat the shit out of Intel at the time, it beat the shit out of Intel today when it comes to the way that it samples and the way that the hardware was constructed. It is arguably one of the best multi-track audio recording rigs ever.
Now, I don't know if that's still true in studios today. I haven't set foot in a studio many years, but I do know that in the pre-iPhone era was basically Macs were catered for, professional use. And I know I had a bunch of my Super 8 home movies from my childhood digitized by this outfit in San Francisco, and that was around the time that the second or third generation of the iPhone was coming out, and they were talking about how they were looking at switching out their Macs to PCs because the latest versions of the software that were coming out were more tailored to home consumer use and wouldn't work with their operation, and all the professionals were basically being abandoned by Mac because
that's
we
not
can make a whole lot of more money selling phones to people.
Yeah, that's not true anymore, but it was true for a period of time. Oh, by the way, for those of you who want to see the Nyquist, here's what Gators is talking about. So if you have an audio sample, right? This is actually really cool. Whoever designed this is pretty awesome. So, you've got some random set of a sample of a frequency, and the idea is you can model the line as long as you have more than twice the number of samples as the frequency. So the idea goes, because human hearing is finite, we only care about certain frequencies, then you only need a certain number of samples. See how the little dots increase, and as they increase, the form fit to the sine wave or to the sample get more and more accurate. That is a really cool way to show it, though. I love that.
Oh yeah, no, that is great.
Meg's writing in Yohas. What's up, Meg? Anyway, so yeah, that is the insanely nerdy foray into audio. Probably something that Dune tolerates, but doesn't really care about.
I've never really gone into Nyquist, but every now and then I, bring up some music samplings to educate Dune about music history. He especially loves it when I mention Milton Babbitt.
Oh, God. Yeah, no, no one should ever do that. That's just mean.
Oh, come on. Milton Babbitt was quite, he had a very logical approach to music, very formulaic of involving, I would say his approach to music might have been considered mathematical by some.
Yes, Gators. That's you're completely and totally forgetting the fact that nobody ever wanted to hear what he ended up with, unless you're just a total nerd. That's like saying mathematically, this is a perfect. No one's
ever posted his music on YouTube, and no one's ever bought his CDs of his music.
That's right. Oh, Meg's saying just catching up on whatever the topic is. Here's the topic. Gators likes this insane shit. Oh, and speaking, I'm gonna go ADD on you for a second. Those robots that are basically designed to model like dogs and stuff.
Okay.
So they're actually testing these robots now. And they're testing them in public. So here's this robot, right? You've seen these robots. They're the ones that you saw a guy shoving the robot and it would fall down and then it would get better and better and better.
Okay.
Apparently they're actually using them in parks now. And they're just basically testing them. They're testing whether or not these robots can walk around. That is fucking awesome. Oh my God.
That's pretty awesome.
I love it. We're finally getting good enough at building robots so that they don't fall over all the time or immediately.
Which is really going to help them take over and enslave mankind.
Right. Well, that is always been the goal. I don't know what anyone else is thinking, but luckily we can usually kill computers with a decent enough paradox that I'm just not worried about it.
Wheatley has demonstrated that that doesn't work.
Oh,
you played Portal 2, right?
No, Gators. I've never played anything. Assume that I've.
Oh my God, you've got to play Portal 2.
No, I don't, Gators.
You mean you finished Portal and you were like, well, that was fun. I don't need another follow-up to that.
No, Gators. I never finished Portal because I never started it.
Oh my God, you never played Portal?
No gators.
You need to play Portal.
Yeah, that's probably not going to happen.
How did you deal with all the references to this thing that was, an internet craze? You got to at least experience it to understand the references.
See, you saying that this thing that is an internet craze immediately is the explanation that I need. Meg saying I played Portal and quit after 1.
You need to go back and try again.
No, she doesn't, because she has shit to do, Gators.
It's like this, Vamp. The whole point of watching reaction videos to Two Girls, One Cup is that you've seen it, so you know the horrors. Otherwise, the reaction isn't funny.
I've never finished watching Two Girls, One Cup. Want to know why? Because I don't care. I don't care one iota. I don't care.
See, you are completely left out of this experience then. You'll just never know. You'll never know.
I don't need to see 2 people shitting in each other's mouths in order to appreciate the fact that I don't want to see people shitting in each other's mouths. Like that's how it works.
No, there was good camera work though. I mean, the lighting was, I don't know. You'll never look at a soft serve cone of ice cream the same way again after you've watched Two Girls, One Cup.
And luckily, I'll never have to. Like I just don't care. That's all there is to it. There's no caring on this side, and I'm just fine not caring. I love that you bring up Two Girls, One Cup like that's gonna somehow sell me on this. Oh, well, in that case.
Oh my God, I think I pooped myself.
Exactly. Hey, I actually texted Damon the other day.
Yeah.
And I brought up the possibility of doing a staff picnic that is social distanced because, like, the idea was funny to me.
I think I know what Damon said as soon as you said, "Hey, I got a great idea, Damon. Staff picnic." No!
Actually, he was pretty much okay with it.
So we're all going to go to a park and stand 6 feet apart from each other?
No, Gators, that's the point. We'll do it remotely. But the idea of the staff picnic being a COVID staff picnic, I thought was pretty good. Of course, he immediately asked, was this just your crazy idea? Or is anyone else behind this? And I'm like, well, I figured I should ask you first, because if you're in, chances are everyone else will be like, oh, Damon's coming? Okay, cool.
Well, I mean, let's look at this. Actually, Damon coming might make less people come because, I'm in, of course. You're in. Dune will certainly show up for some sort of a staff-related event. Now we start going into the people that all left NHB for one reason or another. Producer Bill generally declines any requests to be involved in anything.
Mm-hmm.
No one's sure where Trey Dog ended up. Sloan might show up.
Okay.
But then he...
But, I mean, no, Sloan would call in.
Yeah, he'd call in. And of course he'd go all pro Trump on us at some point during that, but that's okay because he's Sloan.
I would be shocked if Sloan wasn't pro Trump.
Yeah, you called that one right.
Well, because it's offensive. Anything that's offensive, Sloan is all about.
No, it goes deeper than that. But anyways, I don't. Addy, of course, won't have anything to do with it.
Well, I don't care. So, like, that's fine by me.
That's I still talk to him though.
Why?
He's the way he is for reasons, and there's a certain level of sympathy one might have as they start to understand the insanity.
See, my default is sympathy. At the end of the day, I'm not kidding. Like, my default is sympathy. But that's different than would I choose to pay attention to this person? And in general, Addy doesn't give two fucks about this network and never has.
Yeah, but here's the thing. Addy has always made efforts to stay in touch with me when I ignore him. And there's something to be said
and there's
for
something
that.
sweet about that. Is that what you're saying, Gators?
There are two approaches one could take with a stalker. Restraining order is one, and just going with it is the other. He's not that bad.
Meg writes in, Andrew hasn't killed himself, has he? No, I don't believe he has.
Oh, yeah, Andrew. We got to get the Take It or Leave It crowd. They'd be on board.
Well, it would just be Andrew. Like, Rob is incommunicado. Mike is, like, married now. Andrew's brother, Mike, is like, married and is never at home.
Well, he can't, if we tell him this one time, like, we're all getting together, I think we can't get any of them to
I doubt it.
Schedule.
I doubt it. We'd get Andrew. We wouldn't get anyone else.
We wouldn't get Bob Stein?
Nope.
No Bob Stein?
Nope. Bob
What
Stein.
about Kenny Kane?
Kenny Kane is in Texas. And he doesn't.
I got phones there.
I don't know. Barely. It's Texas. No, I don't know. I mean, I would ask Kenny, but my guess is that he wouldn't do it just because he's busy with I don't know what. But I don't know. Yeah. Meg's writing in that Kenny moved on years ago. I mean, I still talk to Kenny, but it's never about station stuff. It's just because, he became a friend of mine separately.
Right.
I built that podcast studio for him in New York, which was a great excuse to go to New York. Because why the hell not?
Oh, yeah.
That was years ago, though.
We had fun. Well, I remember the staff picnics we had in New York, and that's when I found out I get seasickness, and that was not fun at all.
For those of you who have no idea what Gators is talking about, we all went out on Andrew's boat, and the boat broke, so we had to get towed.
Well, here's so we're out in the boat. And there's some discussion going on between Andrew and Andrew's dad about weight distribution being an issue in the boat. So they elected the two heaviest people on board to sit near the front of the boat, being me and Bob Stein. So me and Bob Stein hanging out near the front of the boat while everyone else is having a good time out, in the back of the boat. And at some point, Bob Stein decided, fuck this, let's just get up and go back there. And we went back there and the boat broke. And of course, this was Andrew's fault for not keeping his heavyset friends at the front of the boat. And I ducked into a closet and hid when the shouting match started. But that soon
they
broke
didn't
down
shout.
into...
I don't remember them shouting.
Well, there was a little bit of back and forth that I ducked into a closet for because I was like, okay, I'm going to let them, because I didn't stay in the front where I was supposed to stay. So I didn't want to get pulled into this. So I figure I best stay out of sight.
Yeah, they're like, look, fat ass, no one wants to hear from you.
I'll just stay in the closet here. I'll be fine. And but there's a little bit of back and forth then until, we got to call someone to tow us. Now, the clouds were rolling in. And so that means all the boats were heading back towards the land where we couldn't head because we were stationary. So all the boats are going right by us, which is making the water more wavy.
Yes, there was a fair bit of wake. And, keep in mind
this way, that way.
Well, and when you
way,
tow a boat, like it's not like you just call a cab. It takes a while, even if you're, where were we? Were we in the Hudson Bay? No. It was upstate New York, but we were on
No, Long Island. We were off of Long Island.
That's right. So, I mean, you could see the Atlantic Ocean. I mean, but we were in a bay. So there really would not have been choppy water were it not for all the boats coming the other direction.
Because the weather's turning.
Right. Exactly. So basically everyone that was that was out at that time had basically every boat came back at us at the same time.
Every boat on Long Island passed us at the same time. It would have been a nice, peaceful, floating out in the water if it were not for every boat on Long Island coming past us at the same time. And I started feeling it. And there was no towboat in sight. And
you were the only one, or did Damon? No, Damon was okay.
everyone else was okay. And I was not complaining, and I didn't say a word about it because I was focusing every part of my being on keeping it together to not puke. And I can proudly say it worked. I did not puke, but apparently it was visibly noticeable to everyone else that I was feeling absolutely awful.
Well, Gators, you were under the main deck. You were like at the bottom of the boat. You were like down the stairway.
I ended up outside at some point to try to stare at the horizon and get my bearings together, but it was just, we were bobbing in the middle of the water, and it was just, oh my god, it was the second worst. The worst was the plane ride into Texas. Oh my god, you ever been on a plane with horrible turbulence? And once again,
Gators, it doesn't bother me. It's never bothered me.
Well, that nobody likes you, Vamp. We took a vote. We took a poll.
I see. So let's see. Meg writes in, so what you're saying is Bob broke the boat and Gators almost died. Gators felt like he was almost dying.
No, I just almost puked, but I didn't.
Right, because he knew that the amount of shit that he would catch forever had he actually puked, it would have been merciless and probably would proceed to this day.
It was bad enough that you're making jokes about my hairline by, making sure I didn't get sunburned by spraying it with the sunscreen.
Did I do that?
You did do that.
Oh, okay. I actually don't remember that, but that's okay. Very good. Well, once again, you've wasted however long you've wasted on listening to Gators and I talk about audio and stuff. This show typically airs from 4 to 6 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. That's 6 to 8 Eastern Standard Time, which is, I don't know, GMT fuck you dogga time. And that's all that there is to it. I don't know. I mean, I want to float the idea. You might as well bring it up. Ask Dune about this. I think it's a great idea to just do a conference. And what we would have to do is basically, we would have to leapfrog. I don't want to do it in Zoom. The quality is too terrible. It's not good enough for broadcast. The audio.
There is something that the kids are using these days for the multi-party video calls. I forget what it is, and I forget what the catch is, or if it's a pay service. But I could do. I've been using TeamViewer for my show, but that's fine if 2 people are sending you a camera. If a bunch of us want to get camera feeds together, I don't know how we're going to do that.
So I can do that because I pay for Restream, and Restream allows custom RTMP. So basically, the way that it would work would be everyone would point their broadcast to a separate RTMP, which my account allows for. And so everyone would be broadcasting separately, and everything would be assembled by the broadcast box, by Restream.
But Restream just takes one stream and sends out to multiple places. Would they be able to take multiple video streams and Brady Bunch it?
Yes. Yep, they can do that.
Okay.
I've never tried it, but it is absolutely something that this expensive account allows me to do.
We might want to do a few test runs on that before we get serious about this. But yeah, we'll have to give that a try.
I don't know. I mean, it's first things first. We should probably talk to the rest of the staff. I haven't seen Rico around in ages.
Yeah, and we got to find out where Neighbor Dyke's been these days.
Oh, I don't think anyone cares.
Oh, what about the Right Aid hippie? We got to invite her.
Gators is getting really obscure here.
Oh, I went obscure when I mentioned Trey Dog.
That's true.
That's always my go-to.
Gators, hang on for a second. I'm gonna kill the broadcast, and you just stick around. All right.
All right.
Till next week, be sure to spay and neuter each other, and just do whatever it is that you people do when you're not listening to this fantastic radio hour. And Gators is asking me to mute his channel. Oh, there it is. There, it's muted. There it goes. Let's see. That's the beauty of a digital mixer. One fucking button, Gators. I don't have to do anything. He's flicking me off. I can see that in the multi-view, but you guys can't see it and nobody can hear it. Oh, well. It's all right, Gators. That can be one flick for the sperm count and one for the IQ, right? Very good. Anyway, till next week, we're out of here. And I'm going to do something that Gators never does. I'm going to turn off the stream correctly so that nothing has to get booted. How's that? See, Gators is still talking, and I can see this blinky little light blinking up and down, but I can't actually hear what he's saying, and neither can any of you. Till next week, we're out. Big and a peace, motherfuckers.